Welcome to the 90th show, and we are going to present the 90th show through the tree of the Kabbalah. All right, and we are going to use the 9 sephirots on the bottom of the door here and the missing fruit. Okay, so you got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sephirots and a missing fruit for our 90. And this is what was used so as to start the whole story inside of Genesis, where you had a tree in the middle of the Garden of Eden and a missing fruit. So we start from there, but then it morphed into all kinds of nonsense. But that being said, let's go to where I was before. At the word neo is the one where it is an anagram, and this is how a little bit of the magic is the reshuffling of the letters, and therefore that's why neo was the one, and the one will be neo. So that's that. But after the bad magic that I did underneath, let's bring you some more magic where we would take the word one, and we'll look at the letters, and we're going to take the numbers associated to it, the positions of the letters inside of the alphabet, and this will give us a number which is 34. And 34 can be simplified into the number 7, and this is allowed in witchcraft and in magic because there are no rules. That's basically it. There are some rules, but they can be made up as you go along. But this is one of the rules. You can simplify your number, and the number 7 is associated to Zayin. Zayin is the 7th letter in the Hebrew alphabet, and it's a tool and a weapon. And it just happens to be that 1 is associated to God through this nonsense up here, which is the alphabet. So you got the Hebrew character, you have the previous witchcraft symbol that this is. It became a little cow here. It became Aleph, and it's the first letter of the alphabet, and this represents God. And lo and behold, we have the number 1 here. The way it was written, hidden inside there is the number 7, and it's a tool and a weapon. And if you look at the cursive of Zayin in Hebrew, it's our letter G, where you learned how to do that when you were a kid. So those are not coincidences. This is how witchcraft works. It may look like a coincidence, but it's not a coincidence. So that being said, we are going to look at the number 7 itself. In the tree of the Kabbalah, you can create this nonsense with the sword that starts on the top here, and this was the story of the lightning of creation. This is supposedly the lightning of creation. As it goes down, it creates 7 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 angles, and that brings us to where angles come from, the number system. The number system was created with angles. 1 angle, 2 angles, 3 angles. That's another video, but that you understand where your number systems come from. But this was the reason for the 7 days of creation, and it is also, let's say, an allegory inside of the Bible for the wielding sword that chased Adam and Eve down to earth, being heaven on top here and earth. This is also the wielding sword, the flaming wielding sword that you'll find in Genesis inside the Bible at the beginning there. So no coincidences there. This is how they created the Bible. Good. We also have some other things to look into, like the first verse inside of the Hebrew Bible contains 7 words, and those 7 words obviously tied into weapon as well as a tool. So the Hebrew alphabet came out of the tree of the Kabbalah. It's basically witchcraft. That's it. It came out of this, and if it came out of this, it's mysticism, and it is witchcraft. and just understanding how this all works, and then you say, oh, that's how it works. Good. So the first letter of the Hebrew Bible starts with Bet, and that's very important because Bet here, where is it? We have Bet being the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's associated to the number 2. And the number 2, okay, has to do with duality. So the word Aleph-bet, which is our phonetic duality for alphabet, okay, finishes with duality. You cannot trust it. It has a dual meaning. All right, so let's look at how they create the letter B for our alphabet. It was created with the side view of a pregnant woman. As you can see right here, you can see the letter B on the profile of this pregnant woman. And that is what created the letter B inside of our alphabet. And to understand how the magic works, okay, this is Bet. And when you go to the casino and you place a bet, let's say on either red or black, you are actually creating a potential, it is a duality because you can either win or lose. So betting at the casino is tied indirectly to the understanding of bet, which comes from 2. One of 2 outcomes when you place a bet. And duality is just tied to the hip to duplicity, which is, let's say, the dark magic, the black magic of this whole nonsense. Okay, so that being said, let's look at where we are going with this. We are going to go to the Egypt, where all this kind of started, because this obelisk at the Luxor temple, one of the 2 of them was shipped in the middle of Paris in Place de la Concorde. And the word concorde means to agree with. There's an agreement, but what agreement? I sort of think is that they all said that, hey, let's continue to use witchcraft on everybody, okay, and let them not know about it. So on the obelisk, you will find that there is hieroglyphs, and these hieroglyphs was probably the first form of witchcraft. And we could probably figure that out from if we look inside of Wikipedia, just with the letter Shin inside of Hebrew, you'll find that it had an origin inside of the hieroglyphs, okay? And this is witchcraft. That's sort of the modern day letter in the Hebrew alphabet is this one, but it came out of this nonsense, all right? So you can see it here. You have the, what was I gonna say? You have the ancient witchcraft here and the modern day looking letters that are over here, the Hebrew alphabet, but it all started with this nonsense. If you would see this on the wall or somewhere, you would say, oh, that's witchcraft. Well, that became that, okay? This is the modern day looking, and it has attributes, okay? It has a number and it has a sound, and it's what created our Aleph-bet, our alphabet, a phonetic duality for us. Okay, that being said, I want to sort of bring you back to this nonsense, as this was placed by King Louis Philippe, and he brought it inside of Paris, and it came there in 1833. You can recognize the 33 where that also means magic. It's 23 meters long, and so happens to be that 23, when you simplify it, is 5, and that is a sort of, you can bring it to a symbol that is related to witchcraft. That's how it works. I do apologize. And let's look at some other word magic in our society. When you look at the golden arches and the Mac, that means magic, as if you turn the 3 on its side, okay, that's a 3, and a C is the 3rd letter of the alphabet. Therefore, it is connected to magic. This is how inside of our society, these witches that practice this stuff can actually walk around and understand what they're looking at as a view being educated and being in a conformist system, you can't see it. And that's how they can see through all this. So Mac here, if you take the Hebrew gematria, you'll also find that it gives you a result 33. It's not an accident, such as it's not an accident when you have the logo of CNN, you will find a 3 on top of another 3. It's a hidden way of saying it's magic, it's related. Okay, so from here, I want to bring you to Place de la Concorde, where I will see if you concord with this nonsense. Okay, now you have inside of Place de la Concorde a circle, and the fountain is inside this circle, and water is associated to spirit. Okay, so you have a fountain in the shape of a circle, and we all know that the circle is your God and indirectly attached to the number 1 due to the fact that a circle has one surface. Okay, so here you have Aleph, indirectly, Aleph. Here you got your little witchcraft symbol in accordance to what they're doing. And then you have 2 buildings that look alike. Therefore, you have sort of like a duality, as you can see. One looks as the other one. And indirectly, this is the Aleph-bet. Okay, so this is how they put this inside of structure. And you have this nonsense over here, which is the Luxor Obelix, and it has hieroglyphs on it. So somewhere inside here, you have a hidden meaning. Now let's go to the building that's one of the buildings here, and you will find that they've manifested, okay, indirectly, the tree of the Kabbalah. Okay, let's look at this together. Here you have 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you count them, you have 11 openings. Okay, that's your one hint. 11 is the beginning of magic inside of Kabbalah. Then you have your 22 windows, as there's 11 windows on this floor and 11 windows on this floor. 22. So you have your 22. And then you also have 3 windows here and 3 windows there, okay, for your 33. 33. And that's an indirect way of creating this symbol, where it's made with 2 triangles, and that's 33, and that brings you back to the understanding that it means magic indirectly, such as CNN here means magic indirectly. When you look at CNN, you are actually looking at it on a channel. This is not an accident. Channel is associated to the word channeling. Then you are on a it's being broadcast, and inside the word broadcast there's the word casting, like casting spells. All right, so the association and the coincidence is not a coincidence. Okay, so that being said, if you would be on the balcony of this hotel, I think it's like Hotel Marine de la Marine, you will see that you have your black and white tiles, and we understand that black, when you put the numbers together according to the letters of the alphabet, okay, in their order, it will equal 29, and 29 simplified is 11, so that's for your black, and white here equals 65, and that's your 11. So right here you have 22 on the black and the white, or 11, 11, 11. So all this brings you back to the understanding that there was something witchcrafty going around there. And you have to be into the occult to understand when they look to you from the balcony outside, you are behind bars. You are the ones in prison according to their perspective. So that's very important, because this all brings us back to the alphabet, where you create a word, you create a sentence, and it's not an accident that the words create a sentence, because then therefore you can be trapped within that sentence. When they make laws, rules, and stuff like that, you are made to obey, and therefore you are trapped. It could be mentally or physically because of a sentence. And that's how it works. So inside of here you have the letters, which is your alphabet, Aleph-bet, and then you have your words, which is the Son of God. He's the Alpha and the Omega, and he's the Word, and therefore this is Jesus as well as God in a sentence. All right, and you can see that words, okay, is spelling. This has to do with spelling, casting spells. And this is a weapon, as words, the anagram for words is sword. And a sword ends with a point, the pointy end. So there you go, the nonsense of witchcraft all around us, and it could be hidden in structure. It could be hidden in characters of the alphabet and the understanding of it. And it could be hidden inside of geometric shapes, that this is your God, as it's your one and only God, referring to the surface of a circle, as well as he has no beginning, no end, and he's infinite, and this has to do with pi. He's radiant. You will find a radiant inside of a circle, as well as when they made that story up of the Ark of the Covenant, well, you will find an ark inside a circle. It's no accident, it's just witchcraft, and that's how it works. They created a world, okay, for believers, all out of sentences that were, because when you open their books, it's just obvious you're going to find God as well as Jesus through the letters of the Aleph-bet. You open the pages, what is on the pages? Aleph-bet, the alphabet, and Jesus is there because Jesus is the Word. There you go. That's the nonsense of today. That's how you connect the dots. And that's it. Have a good day.